กำลังจะสัมภาษณ์กันอยู่
ขยับใกล้กันนะแม่เนาะจะได้เมาได้ง่ายขึ้นโอเค
ประมาณนี้ไหม position โอเคเขาแนวตั้งด้วยครับคือเป็น story ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Hello ตุ๊กติ๊ก
สวัสดีค่ะ
Come on take a seat
So this is one of our top selling fragrance ดอยอ่างขางเชียงใหม่ oranges
Okay so shall we start
please
Okay well we have the microphone there just in case you need to talk because this
Sure.
will be 2-3 hours more or
okay
less
okay
Alright, so welcome Kun Saisalang to our class. Today we have a very special privilege, like very special guest that he comes to Salaya for the very first time.
Actually my first time here and I bet will be the second time
I hope so. Anyway, this class we will be talking about economy,
okay
entrepreneurship, and so on.
okay
And I think that you are one of the best person who can actually share your experience with
Thank
all
you.
of us here. All right, and well, without further ado, maybe I can actually ask Kun Saijai to introduce
okay
yourself
For
to the
sure.
class, and then after some introduction, then we will follow with the Q&A session.
okay
All right, so the stage
Alright.
is yours.
สวัสดีค่ะมิงกะลาบา and then you are free and safe to ask any question that you may have. Today I would say this just like sharing. So we share my experience. Once I was your positions. Then that we talking about 12 years ago. Okay, so where I coming from? My name is Saisalang. I'm owner, creator, and everything about Saisalang brands. Okay, I've been offering fragrance 2 years ago and still keep doing and growing. And my background, I was working with LVMH. Okay, so the corporate brands, we're talking about fragrance, couture, fashion, cosmetics, skincare. So I was started when I 20 years old from selling to a trainer. My last position, I look after 4 countries. Okay, in Southeast Asia, for sure is fragrance. So when we're talking about perfume, people think about scent, but perfume is very abstract. When we're talking about fragrance, it's kind of like scent that we cannot see. So when we're talking about makeup color, you apply red with colors, you can see the colors. You're wearing jacket, you see a jacket. But fragrance, the invisible clothes that you're wearing. So when we're talking about fragrance, it's not just about the scent, but it all everything combined. And when we're talking about business, which is something that beyond, it's not all about perfume that people buy, but people buy everything, included the fragrance, the bottles, ingredients. So when we're talking about fragrance, I bet you know many brands in your life. Okay, so they have so many brands in the world, more than millions perfume in the world. But when we look at the fragrance, there is only 2 ingredients, which is synthetic and natural ingredients, means all the perfume the same. Then why do we need so many brands? People buy perfume, not by the brands. They buy because of why you're doing the same. And for Saisalang, we're not just selling fragrance, like I shared with you guys earlier. We not just selling fragrance, but I use my platforms, I use my counters, I use my brands to showcasing something from local to the world. For Saisalang, fragrance is the language from local to the world, and that's actually the marketing to selling. So when we're talking about business,
Well, maybe
Yes,
we
please.
can stop back a little bit.
Sure.
Let's go back. You said that you started your brand 12 years ago.
Yes.
And before that, you worked for LVMH.
Yes,
As a trainer.
I'm start from selling. My last
sales.
position a trainer.
Okay. But before that, you got your degree, your education
Yes.
background was
Yes.
in
Thank you for reminding. sometimes you might surprise that what you graduated and what your career can be far different. I'm graduated in interior design. I love art. So I love drawing. I love art. I love cultures. So I'm studying art. And then because of sometimes what we work and where we're coming from can be different. But if you love what you've been doing, you have to keep doing. And then there could be some things. So when I realized that I love fragrance when I was 20 years old, I'm selling some fragrance, but I pretty much apply art, that's what I learned, to a world of fragrances. And we would call that the world of business as well.
So your love for fragrance
Yep.
start like when you were very young,
Yes,
and then after graduation you joined the company
yes,
as a sales associate.
exactly.
And how long were you working as a sales associate in fragrance?
Oh, in total around 30 years.
30 years.
Okay, when I was working with Christian Dior and Louis Vuitton, what I can share with you, all the perfumers I've been working with, they said you don't have to love what you're doing, but you have to love doing. Means sometimes when you study, you don't love all the subject that you study, but you have to keep studying what you love. And then one day you realize that when you graduated, you might can use something that you learn in your life.
That's very important.
Very,
You don't have to love what you are doing,
yes,
but you must love what you are doing. Is that right?
you are right. Okay. For me, when we're talking about fragrance, I love fragrance, but I don't love selling fragrance. Then I keep selling fragrance until one day I realized that what I'm being selling pushed me to the spot that I want to be, which is a trainer and own the fragrance brand.
So you start with a sales position.
Yes.
That means you need
Yes.
to understand
The
all the
structure, fragrance structure, selling, business and marketing. Like I share with you, I don't love selling fragrance, but I love fragrance. So what I've been doing, I keep selling fragrance, which is the thing that I love. I don't love selling, but to keep what I love alive, I have to keep selling fragrance to keep my position as sales staff working with the brands. And that when we're talking about 30 years ago, so when I was started, I was 20, my last position, a trainer for fragrance. Okay, so when I was start as a trainer, the position that I want to be is allow me to meet a lot of amazing people in the world. I met a perfume designers, Francis, François, and Shark, so who done fragrance for many brands in the world. What I learned from them, there is something that they love in their life, and there is something in their life that they hate about. But in order to keep their dream alive, they have to do something that they didn't like that much. Once, François said me, fragrance is an art, but the art that have to be selling. When we're talking about art, there's so many types, so many formats of art. But when we talk about business, something that beyond art. So when we're talking about fragrance, fragrance is part of art. But the art that have to talk about commercial, that's what we're talking today. You can have a beautiful perfume, but if cannot selling, there's such a shame. And Feng Shui said me, fragrance is an art, but you have got to make sure that your art is accepted and selling. Why? Because you can have another budget, another money to running your dreams. That we're talking about, you don't have to love what you're doing, but you have to love what you are doing. Means you have to know what you love in your life. And you keep doing everything to support where you want to be in your life. So when we're talking about business, Kun Paul asked me earlier before I'm jumping in the class, he asked, how did you doing during COVID? When the crisis going down, but I share with you during COVID, people gone, but stand still and success. We expanding. What we start from just one small shop in Chatuchak, and now we have 14 stores in Thailand. And we're going to expand more, a couple store within this year. I shared with you earlier. So when we're talking about business, particularly about fragrance, fragrance is an art, but you cannot just doing perfume. You have to do a lot of things. There are 360 degrees around your fragrances. Okay, you have to know where you go. From me, Saisalang. Yes, please.
But I mean, you talk about loving fragrances, but what's the point? Like, when was the turning point that you think that you should make your own fragrance? But by the way, François that he talked about is from Sudamashi.
From Sodamachi, the previous perfume designers for Christian Dior, and Shark, who is
Suppose.
doing Louis Vuitton fragrance, and a lot of perfumers around the world. Yes,
Chakavalier.
I met him when I was in Grass and when I was with LVMH. Okay, so I love fragrance. I didn't love selling fragrance. And you know me, when you visit my store, I cannot close my bills. I keep talking. So I love fragrance. When I realized that perfume in the world, that's not what I like. When I realized that I was working with Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, I feel like I love fragrance. But there's some limitations. I cannot fix it. And I decided to open my own brands. That 12 years ago. Making perfume very easy. Selling fragrance is something very difficult. My first 4 to 5 years, I want to give up. I would have give up. My first 4 to 5 years, I realized I love my fragrance, but customer didn't like my fragrance.
What happened? I mean, when you start your Saisalang brand,
Yes.
where did you start? In Chatuchak.
In Chatuchak market,
Okay. So what happened in the first 5 years?
we making perfume the way that I like. You cooking your food the way that you love, but not all the customer loving your dishes. You can have all the best ingredient in the world and you put them into your bottles and you feel people would love it. But in fact, doing fragrance and doing business is very opposite. They are not going together. I realized that working with fragrance is not all about ingredients, but about how to sell it, which is marketing support, a lot of things behind the scenes. My first perfume I created, I used a lot of jasmine. I love jasmine. And I just put on a lot of jasmine. I feel like customer will like it. When I propose, when I present my fragrance, people feel very vintage, very old. Not everybody loves jasmine like I love. And then I realized it's not just to making fragrance, but how to make your fragrance wanted. Which year we're talking about business, and that's 5 years ago. So that's the first 5 years. The first 5 years, I can share with you, some month we sell only 2 bottles. The first month I'm sold only 1 candle, which is 850 baht. When I invest 7 digits money, just like and throw my money to the river.
By the way, how many
Yes,
fragrances do you have right now?
I have almost 100 fragrances, and I brought some. You can try later.
Do you still have some from the very first?
Yes, I didn't bring today. You can visit my store, and you guys please visit my store. Okay, we have a lot of offers.
So they are still on sale. Like,
Yes. My first perfume called Ratchathani, still selling today. But most of them, my first batch, we have 10 fragrances. Most of them discontinued it. Like I showed you earlier, I love my fragrance, but my customer didn't like it. So we have got to work on process.
so only Ratchathani survived.
Still survive because of my first perfume. Like I want to keep it. Not that top selling, but I want to keep it. Just like my heritage. Okay. So to sell with you, doing business is not all about the products, but there's so many things. The first thing before you done your brands or your business, you have got to set your goal where you are going. For me, I set my goal really clear. I want to be an Thai lifestyle fragrance brands. So I know where I'm going. I set my goal, my objective very clear, crystal clear. This is where I'm going. And everything in along the way, what I've been doing to support my goal, which is the lifestyle Thai brands. Kunpo, you better know when we're talking about the local Thai brands, so 100 brands. When you're doing your business, your brands, if your brand cannot differentiate from the market, I bet you will be suffering. So when you're doing some, like for me, I'm working on the fragrance, my brand very unique. I know where I'm going. I have my package, which is everything combined, very Saisalang. When we're talking about Saisalang, people know. Okay, very
So to
fresh.
differentiate your brand from other 100 brands,
Yes,
so you start from the visual,
yes.
the bottle has to be different.
Everything's Kunpo, because when we're talking about perfume, it's not just the juice in the bottles, the logo, the names, ingredients, the bottles, packaging, the bags, everything combined to make people buying.
Like the name Saisalang,
Yes,
it's very unique.
my last name actually. Okay, and you might notice people call Bangkok, but they say Gungtae. Okay, so you can see my brand sense surrounding. From the concept and ideas, I'm traveling more than 60 countries back then. So I believe everything about a sense. Places, people, moment, even conversation that we're talking. That's why we spray some fragrance to make you remember. I was working with Christian Dior. Okay, when there is one session, they do some small experiments. I want to make my team remember all the products, all the informations. I spray some jasmine in the room. I love jasmine. I love tuberose. I spray jasmine in the rooms. And we do a training for 5 hours. Then we wrap up. Second month later, we do tests and we split them into two groups. The first group, we spray jasmine in the testing room. The second group, we don't spray any fragrance. And you know what happens? The first group did better scores. Did say you, if you're doing some business, fragrance is very a silent conversation, but very powerful. Fragrance make people remember. Okay, so that's why when come back to my brand, we say sense surrounding. I believe everything have got a sense surrounded. Conversation have got a sense. Places, people, and moment. My job as scent designer to capture and extract into the bottles. Okay, so when I share with you doing some business, for me, I'm working on Saisalang for 12 years. I have my goal very clear where I'm going. And everything I'm doing to support my goal, which is the lifestyle Thai brands.
So now you got the name that is different from
The
anyone
market.
else.
Yep.
Because you use your last name.
Yes.
The bottle, the design, the logo. How about the juice itself? Is it different?
Very hot now. I feel very hot. Very soft.
How can you please check?
Kun Paul, we're talking about business and fragrance. When we're talking about ingredients, one thing we have got to accept that being local brand like us, we don't have a deep pocket. We cannot use all ingredients. We have 100 baht in our pocket and we have to spend it wisely. When we're talking about the corporate brands like those brands I mentioned earlier, they have a billions, trillions of budget. They can buy whatever. Then how to compete? Very challenging. There's some potential and chance opportunities. Being fighting with them, no. I'm trying to using something that's very local. For example, I would love you to try some fragrance I mentioned earlier. Sorry, I have to trouble you also.
Sure.
So one of our top selling, I bet you will love it, the vanilla poetic. So we learned that vanilla, one of ingredient that been using around the world. We do better. We learned that we cannot use expensive vanilla, not a problem. We use a local vanilla. Ingredient that we're using today, we use a lot of from local, treasure local. Instead of we use some ingredients from different parts of the world, very difficult, very expensive, nope, not a problem. We use something local. This one vanilla from Chiang Mai. I'm very privileged. You can
So-
try, please.
Okay, maybe you try on the skin.
I'm very, very, very privileged and honored to working with some universities. So this is the vanilla
Vanilla
from
cream.
Chiang Mai,
เราจะ
from
ลองคนผิวให้ก่อน
Macho Universities.
Sure.
Okay. So this is vanilla from Chiang Mai, Macho. So to say you as a perfume designers, okay, all ingredients that we pick up and we use this, they have very unique identities. Vanilla from Chiang Mai, vanilla from Madagascar, vanilla from other parts of the world. They have a different accent. When we are Thai, we speaking English. We have Singapore speaking English, and we have French speaking English. There are different accents. So the local ingredients allowed us to create something very unique. So that's the vanilla. When you smell vanilla closely, you can pick up a lot of floral, woody, spicy, and a banana, very yellow colors bananas. If you may pick up. So what I learned from doing business, we're not just selling. So we try to use something local, which is one of our strengths. So we cannot use something expensive, not a problem. We use something local. We use vanilla from Chiang Mai. We use lemongrass from Suphanburi. And then the other one you also should try. To say you, we quite unique. We use Zampi or magnolia from Nakhon Pathom. So I'm trying to I'm treasure local, and that's only one thing that we quite unique and different.
Okay, this one is called Grungthep by the
Grungthep
Rain.
by the Rain, and one of top selling. Okay,
It's one of my favorite.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay, Grungthep by the Rain.
And when I was proposing this fragrance 2 years ago, I'm very lucky. We use something very local. I'm invited by the government to present my brand in UAE, which is Saudi Arabia. Actually, last week I was in India with TOT, okay, with the Tourist Authority of Thailand, Lisa Blackpink using my fragrance. Okay, so to say you doing business there, you have to have your guts, you have to have everything, and you have to keep doing. Okay,
So how does it smell to you? Grungthep by the Rain.
how you feel my juice?
What is it? Well, we smelled Vanilla Poetic and Grungthep by the Rain. They are very different.
Very different.
So the students are now like testing, experiencing. Which one do you prefer? Number one or number two?
Both, I love you.
Two.
Number 2, okay, Grungthep by the Rain. The vanilla poetic, yes, please.
For day-to-day wear, I would choose the first one, of course, application. Because the other one is much more, yeah, the notes are very,
Which one? The second one?
Second one.
The second one is unique.
Thank you for sharing. And there was one question when I was proposing my brands in UAE, the Middle East. When we're talking about Middle East, they love something intense. They love something woody. They love something very strong and Arab. Then when I propose my brand and you feel very soft and clean, they ask me how do you think you're going to selling your fragrance in Middle East when we prefer more heavier? And I said them, my perfume just like Thai food. If I'm trying to offering something that Arab to yours, means I'm trying to be you, and you want pleasing, you will like it. So instead of we try to offering something that you love, nope, I'm trying to stand where I loved, which is Thai fragrance. And in the end, they like it. I said them, sometimes you have something very intense, very strong, and there will be some day you want something lighter and easier. We have no problem with your perfumes. To say you, when you're doing some business, in particularly fragrance, you have to know where you are selling, who's your customers. Because when you get lost, you cannot sell it. You have to firm on your brands. and you have got to know where you are selling. Okay, doing business is not like doing fragrance. They're quite difficult. Okay, because of when we're working on fragrance, it's just me and my perfumes. But when we're talking about selling fragrance, it's about perfume to people.
So this
Okay.
is well, this leads to another question. Like when you develop a fragrance, do you have a team to help you decide which formulation or which version?
I have my mom and my husband. I'm
That's
lucky.
it?
That's it.
And you believe their choice?
To be honest, I've been trying a lot of ways. When I'm trying to ask opinions, so there are a lot of people commenting. The more you're listening, the more you're not yourself. Like the way you cook. When you cook some food, you ask your brothers, ask your sisters, your parents, your friends, your colleagues, and then your dish no longer yours. I cook the way that I like. If they don't like my cook, I'm fine because the one to like is myself. And that pretty much when I'm start doing my project, I know what I'm gonna selling to who. When I cook my fragrance, I know who I'm going to propose. There are 100,000 people in the world. Not all of them love my collections. We cannot please everyone, to be honest, like business. We cannot please everybody, but the one to be ensured that ourselves. So we know our customer, and that's we're talking about background. We collect all their tasks. One thing I shared with Kun Paul earlier when I was with the brands, we do a lot of their tasks. Okay, so we brought the team to shopping some luxury bags like Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior, and we observing how people behave. You know what, Kun Paul? The more expensive, people think less. Means we charming only 5 minutes. People sweep their card for LV. And we look at other brands far cheaper. Sorry to mention, like Longchamps, okay? So people spending hours and they don't buy. So when we're talking about luxury today, that's their background. So people believe, they trusted. Okay, so the most expensive products is about trust and emotional, not the products.
How much do you sell your perfume?
Let you guess how much I'm selling.
What is the size of this?
50 ml.
50 ml. Can you guess?
What? How much? 300. You mean US, right?
Oh,
5,000?
5,000. I would love to. Okay, I've sold 5,000. No, I'm kidding.
So how much?
How
By
much
the
you
way, you
guess?
guys have taken class. Remember last semester? You calculate. We talk about ingredients. You talk about bottles. You talk about, composition. How much?
Around 2,000 and 3,000.
Reasonable. First of all, 12 years ago, I proposed 800 baht. And 12 years ago, people feel 800 very expensive. But nowadays, this is almost 2,000 baht. But again, along the time, we increasing price, okay, little by little. And when we not look at the pricings as somebody run a business, there are a lot of budgets behind, a lot of money behind the bottles, and we call the invisible investment. When we talk about invisible means before we doing something that's wanted and sellable, remember the first 5 years, I couldn't sell any perfumes. That we're talking about 7-digit money that I'm spent in fragrance and could not sell. That the invisible investments. Customer didn't know that. Along 12 years, I'm spending a lot of money. I would say up 100 millions only for the fragrance. Testing, class, time, consuming, and life. So I love fragrance. I I'm buying a lot of fragrance. I'm tasting a lot of fragrance. I'm traveling around the world to taste the juice. Why? To be and skill. When you're doing your business, you have to know everything about your brands and your business because your customer will question and you have to be able to answer. So when we're talking about the fragrance, you feel 200 baht may be quite expensive. But if we're talking about 12 years experience, 30 years of working with fragrance, a lot of perfume I purchased, a lot of times that I spent, many swap and many tears that I put on my brands. People will think about expensive when they don't want it. We have our brand have two sides. One is numbers, one is language, which is art. When you're doing business, you have got to do everything. Stop there thinking about the numbers by talking about storytelling. When we're talking about fragrance, we're talking about luxury. We're talking about couture and fashion, more expensive. Products are the same, but story different. And story make people buy without think about it.
Okay. A few years ago, I'm not sure if I shared this with you guys, Frederick Mao.
Yes.
Okay, he gave one interview, and there was a question asking about how many people and the process of making the final decision. And Frederick Mao said that there were only two people who made decision: is himself and the perfumer.
You see?
Nobody else. Okay, and then the other question, the following question was like, oh, how can you be sure that this can be like sell in the market? Like there will be someone who like it, but of course there will not be everyone. You know, this is not for everyone to like it, but someone will like it.
And that's the way when we're talking about 12-year experience, we know who is our customers. And when we create a product, we know who we go into selling. And that's why we should listening. We should listening a lot of people. Like the way we cook. If you ask me about I'm cooking my food, I know my taste and people know my taste. When they're coming to my restaurants, they know what they want to eat. And why would I bother thinking about people not liking my food?
Okay.
You know what I try to say, right?
Sure. Then how about the trend? Because you know there are trends in the market. Like when you smell samples,
Okay.
you know, from different brands, you can see that there are trends.
Trend means we run after. You know what I mean? When we're talking about trends, like people love vanilla, we're doing vanilla means we run after. Saisalang never follow any trends. Means I'm not gonna run after you. I run my way. Instead of I grab your customer, no, I'm getting my own clients.
That's why vanilla that we tried. You know, when we tried vanilla
Very
before
different.
in our class, vanilla is usually like food, cookies, something sweet, like we call gulmo. Okay, but vanilla that we tried earlier, the first one that we tried, it was not something like that.
True. And that to say you, when we're talking about the ingredients, we all can reach into a same ingredients. I love to compare fragrance with food because very visualizing. When we're talking about material for your food, you can shopping either Shop, Paragon, Lotus or Macro. You can buy all the same ingredients, but the way of your cook is your skill. You know what I mean? So like perfume, we can have all the same ingredients, but the way of the juice, the way of the sense is reflect on skill, which is the money that we taste. Okay?
How should we start? Like, how did you start? Because you were like interior design, like, and you sell perfume, of course. But then, how did you start like making your own?
So a good question I had from one of my beauty consultants when I was working with the brands. I have a few thousands around the world. If we don't know what we love to do in life, you should listing what you didn't like to do in life. You don't know what to do. You don't know what you love to do. So you start from your listing or what you didn't like. So something you love, maybe just opposite. One thing I very know about myself, I love fragrance. I love creating. I don't love selling. So I'm not good in businessman those days. Okay. So that's why I have to keep selling fragrance to getting money enough from me to open my own brands. To say you don't have to love what you're doing, but you have to keep doing until your love completed.
Okay. Then let's get back to the unique point. So what is unique about Saisalang?
Many things. First of all, my brands, we believe everything have got a sense around it. And my job just capture, extract memory into a bottle. When talking about Saisalang, people feel about places, memories, that very visualizing fragrance. For example, I think I spray the room when you walk in, right? So the Doi Ang Khang, inspired by Chiang Mai oranges, ครับคุณพ่อ So this is the Chiang Mai oranges. So when you smell, you close your eyes. I bring you to Chiang Mai orange orchard. Okay? So that's for high soft oranges. One thing when we're talking about fragrance or any kind of business today, if you cannot make them wanted, means there will be unwanted, and unwanted means cannot selling. So that's why when I'm selling fragrance today, we have to talk a lot, storytelling to make people feeling. We bring them where we want to sell. Okay, so this is Chiang Mai oranges, 4 kinds of oranges: mandarin, yuzu, grapefruit, pomelo, patchouli, cedarwood, sandals, and musky and ambers. Very citrus but woody.
Okay, what you explain? Well, many fragrance is related to places, but from what we talk about, maybe from the counter brand standpoint,
Yes.
said, oh, we are looking for a fragrance for my girlfriend, my boyfriend, and you are talking about places instead of sex or gender.
I learned from luxury products. When it comes to selling product, any items you want to selling, before offering, you have got to ask a few questions. For example, when customers stop at my stores, they will say, which one the top selling? Top selling can be something that I may don't like it. So when we have some customer visit my store, before we jump to testing process, we have to ask a few questions.
But these are,
For instance, when you see a doctor will do investigate before describe a pills. You imagine when you see doctor don't investigate. They look at you and they propose some pills. How you feel?
not good, of course.
That's not good doctors. That's the way of fragrance selling. Don't forget, fragrance is very objective, very emotional, which is kind of like cannot touching, just feelings. So when customer visit my store, I will ask, you prefer woody or fruity, floral or ambers? So what would you like to have today? To know where is my pushing to buy, we have to know where it forced them to buy. So if they said, I love something citrus, now instead of I propose 100 fragrance, no, I'm steamed down to a couple fragrance. So if you love some citrus and there is some flower you love, or I love jasmine, now I'm steamed down, okay, jasmine and citrus. And it's very limited time for testing. They have to browsing to try vanilla. Why do they have to try vanilla? The top selling when they don't like vanilla.
But how about they can say that, oh, I love vanilla, but when they try vanilla pudding, it's not vanilla that they expected.
Exactly, and that's why we should do a talking.
Okay.
If you notice nowadays when you buy some shirt or some dress, the sales assistant will ask you so many questions. What kind of event? Is morning or evening? So a theme colors. So when they say they love vanilla, I will say them, okay, so you love vanilla. Now we're talking about vanilla that we use. We prep them where to test what's going to happen. So it's going to be vanilla, spice, woody, and jasmine, and blah, blah, blah. So when they're testing, they will map the scent that we sniff and the thing that they're hearing. So mean they're going together. You know what I mean, right? So remember when you say whatever and you are learning about business, in the end of the days, you have to run some business yourself. You have to understand your clients. Okay, so I will ask a few questions and then I will talking about the products. I talking about ingredients to make them feel. Once they feel, they expect it. And then when we hand them a blotter, when they sniff, and then they like it. And if they don't like it, not a problem. We have a lot to offer later. Okay.
Okay. So do you like Doi Ang Khang, the citrus one? Do you think that it's for men, women?
That's another good
Anyone?
question. Nowadays, when we're talking about fragrance, we call genderless. Perfume, just how we feelings, is not gender associated. Flower doesn't mean woman. Flower means tender. Flower means soft, delicate. When woodies means something that firm, comforting, means we can enjoy both worlds. And we are 2026. We don't talk about gender anymore. You can see nowadays some guys wearing skirt. They just love skirt. Just like you a girl, you're wearing pants and jeans, just like. So nowadays we're talking about feeling. We look beyond. We just focus on how you're feeling. And that's the way of Saisalang. That's why my perfume can sell to anyone. You can be LGBTQ plus, whatever. As long as you love jasmine, we have jasmine. Okay? So, and that's about this fragrance. By the way, this one, if you know bird, scent of bird, Kun scent of bird, the fragrance reviews, he reviews quite down there, long time ago, and still top sales, okay? And one thing I should recommend. So when we're talking about fragrance, Chiang Khan, inspired by my childhood memories, so this one, to treasure local ingredients, the lemongrass. Okay, we learned that we cannot use a lot of ingredients from around the world, but one thing you can ensure about my brands, we treasure local. We use a lot of local. So this one, Suphanburi lemongrass. Okay,
Suphanburi lemongrass, but it's called Chiang Khan.
Because of that's the same question, and that's the great question. So when we're talking about places, when you are traveling to Chiang Khan, it reminds me my first home, which is my childhood. Sometimes when you're traveling to Chiang Mai or you're traveling to Yangon, it might remind you somewhere, some memory, some people in your life that you have experienced or you have some memory with. So when you're back home, it's associated, it's linked. When many brands, they said about the layering. Okay, so for me, I said you create your own sense. Kun Paul, my fragrance can be layers with anything. Okay, that just means as well. Okay, ambers, sandals, and wood, and you can apply them together. For instance, guys, if you love Sarah jacket, but you enjoy H&M pants, you put them together. You love Chanel lip colors, but you enjoy the lip gloss, you put them together. Fragrance the same way. We call white marketing to selling. Okay, so you can enjoy and layer Chiang Khan with Doi Ang Khang, just amazing. If you
How
love
does it
you
smell
can.
to you?
Okay,
Does it remind you of something? Something very close.
And I share with you, when you are selling fragrance, you selling whatever. What your clients say, you cannot reject. You have to agree. You cannot say yes, but. You say yes, and. I will show you how. Okay, how you feel my fragrance?
What does it remind you?
Out of all the fragrance.
Okay,
You like it the most?
you like it the most? Yes, but this one we have bergamot. And if I said yes, and we have bergamot, you know what I mean? So when we're talking about selling fragrance or anything you sell, we don't use yes but because it's showing we disagree. How you feel the fragrance? I love it, but it's too floral. How you feel my fragrance? I love it, yes, and it's very floral. How you feel my fragrance? I love it, but too citrus. How you feel my fragrance? Yes, I love it, and it's very citrus. You know what I mean? So when it comes to selling fragrance, if you sell whatever you're selling in the future, you cannot disagree your clients. Because when you disagree, mean you're not selling. When customer visit my store, I love Chiang Khan. We said yes, but out of stock. I love you, Chiang Khan. Yes, and we out of stock. So today we offering Doi Ang Kham. The feeling different. The feeling far different. Kun Paul, tonight you are free for movie. Yes, but I have another plans. Kun Paul, you free for moving tonight? Yes, and I have another plans. The thing is far different. Remember, when you're selling anything in the future, okay, this one, some small little thing I learned from luxury brands. Okay, so you love Chiang Khan, and you have got to agree. Yes, amazing fragrance, one of top selling. I will ensure you can vary with any occasions. Okay, so that's why we should do some investigate, some question before we propose. Okay,
Does it remind you of anything?
anything?
Remind me, so like, okay, it's a long story, but in summer when I have a summer vacation, I go back to my parents and this reminds me of after somebody taking a shower and they came out and the smell of the water and the smell of the soap and then I don't know, it smells like somebody just like freshly. Yeah.
Clean and refreshing.
Totally agree. You see, I'm used my same with you. Totally agree. When we're talking about jasmine, your jasmine, and my jasmine can be different. So when you're talking about fragrance, when you're selling fragrance to your customers, whatever they're saying, agree. We just have different background, okay? But we connected through sense. So when we propose this fragrance, and then they said, I don't like it. They're quite jasmine. And we said, yes, agree. They're very jasmine. And if you can, you see, and if, not just but, and if you can waiting a little longer, there will be woody later. Okay, thank you for sharing.
This one would actually remind me of guava leaf.
Yes.
Do you know guava leaf? Have you ever smelled the guava leaf? Not sure. They're too young.
They're too young. Okay, and not a problem because some ingredients for fragrance they're just not ordinary. They're not just normal. Like when we cook, so when we're talking about cheese, when we're talking about pizza, there are a lot of ingredients that we don't know. So not a problem. Okay.
Okay. So this is Chiang Khan. And you said that it has lemongrass.
Yes, lemongrass, guava leaves, neroli jasmine, sandalwood, amber spice, a little bit of saffron and peppers. Okay, very complex. Working with fragrance like when we cook, so we, for example, I share with you like tom yam kung. We have flour ingredients, but you don't see them. Okay.
Okay, very nice. I think this is one of the very first fragrance that I bought from the brand as well. It's refreshing, but it's not too sweet.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why we said genderless. And if you have any question or anything you would love to ask, I'm more than happy. Okay.
Okay. So next is what made you proud about Saisalang?
What I'm proud about my brands is not about number and figures, but I'm proud that I'm just one of the local Thai brands that showcasing Thai to the world. I'm very proud to present Thai fragrance, Thai ingredients to the world. I'm never hesitating to say I'm a Thai brand.
What if, let's say, someone comment, "Oh, I smell Saisalang today, and it smells like Tom Ford."
I love it means I use a lot of ingredients, and when you try some fragrance, they're quite similar. Not a problem.
Do you copy them?
If we're talking about ingredients, there could be similarities. That's why I said you people have different background. When they try some perfume, they try some jasmines. Of course, if I use jasmines, they will have a same accent. If we use the same ingredients, they will have a same smell. Orange, orange, bergamot, bergamot. But when we look at the whole world of perfume, which is millions and millions, there will be some similarities. Even our clothes today, we still look similar. Perfume, food, music, they're sharing the same notes, okay? But they quite be different based on your skill and your preference, your taste.
This is actually what I heard a lot. Like when people smell and compare, it's normal. It's very normal. Okay, but again, as a perfumer, the creator, you know that there are differences. But this depends on the background of the customer. You know how much they have smelled. Sometimes it could be very, very different from the product itself.
And beyond all the customers, it's about the brands. If your objective to mirror the brands, mean you succeed. But if your objective to create your own things, you have to talk about your objective. And that's why I said the first word I'm saying when talking about doing business, you have to set your goal. You don't get lost between the way. Okay, so when you set your goal, this is my brand's perfume. We use a local ingredients, and they said, I smell something very bergamot. Yes, we use bergamot, but local bergamot. I smell jasmine like Tom Ford. Yes, we use jasmine, but this is local jasmine. So perfume just perfumes, but things behind fragrance that we have to work on.
And that's very important. There's no right or wrong answer. It depends on a lot of factors. But now let's get back to the production part.
Please.
Why did you decide to make 50 ml? I believe that back then, like 12 years ago, many brands use 100 ml size.
I've been here for almost 30 years since selling to own my brands. My brand was 12 years, but I've been with the fragrance for 30 years. 30 years ago, when people buy fragrance, they buy the big size. Your mom purchased 100 ml, your fathers, your siblings enjoy the same juice, same bottles. Because perfume those days not accessible like today. But nowadays, we have a lot of fragrance. People don't buy 100 ml. People buy something smaller. So in order for they to try and changing. So when you look at Zara fashion, you look at H&M fashion, all year round they are same designs. They're just shorter, longer, black, white color, pink, shorter, longer, longer, shorter. They play like that. Nowadays, having something new, we don't call something new, we call something that we've been seen, we've been trying. And that when I start my brand, 100 ml from me quite big. 50 ml quite good enough for trying and traveling. You know what? Now people traveling very often. 100 ml can be your problem when you're traveling. 50 ml just your package, your box, your bags. They can be your handy size.
So this is the 50 ml is the largest one you have.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any other sizing?
We used to have a 30 ml. Okay, because sometimes people want to buy more, but they feel like to getting 50 ml, they won't finish. Even 50 ml, they won't finish the bottles. So we're offering something smaller. Okay, but when we observe all the customers, we know that they prefer 50 ml. So we delisted. We stopped at 30 ml by apparently.
Okay, and I think a few months ago, I also saw that you have discovery set, small vials. Do you also sell that?
The
example?
discovery set good for souvenir because they are 2 ml for them to trying to experience. But actually, when we talking about actual buyers, actual customers, 50 ml just perfect, just enough.
Okay, thank you. Any question?
Another one question you might feel when we're talking about the local brand like us, the bottle could be same. So local brand like us, we working on the juice. You can see a bottle similarity from this brand to those brand. That brand's bottles look like that brand's, very normal. So we have customer asking me about, so Saisalang, why Thai perfume, the bottle look the same? And I said to them, why all the beer and wine the same bottles? When we're talking about red wine, white wine, they're same bottles. We're talking about Sing, Leo cans, they are same cans. Pepsi, Cola, they are same can. Why don't we have any questions?
I think because it's the pressure, so it's made that it made same.
No, the question is why different brands they use the same bottle design. When nobody care, nobody complain. But then when we have perfume from different brands, they use the same design, the same bottles, and why it become a problem by then. Yes.
What you said again, please? Sorry.
Like signature.
Establish their own watermarks. If they see a specific structure of a perfume bottle, they would want it to be associated.
Yes, that was what done in the past. Like, of course, that involves a lot of investment.
I would say in the investment point of view, so when we're talking about local brands, when we don't have a lot of money for investing, so instead of we doing some unique bottles, it costs us more than 7-digit money, and nothing guarantee is going to sell or not. So instead of we spending money on the packaging, which we did, but very economic scale, but we spending more money on the ingredients and R&D. So that's why when we look at the Thai perfume bottles, they're quite similar. Because of it, they're creating some new bottles. It costs their fortune, and they don't know it's going to sell or not. So you can look at now the Thai local brands, their bottle very similar, but the juice different. Just like red wine from France, USA, Australia, South Africa, they are same bottles. So they just focus on inside the bottles, which is the juice, the wine. So the same with the Thai perfume today. Okay, so that's what happens. So we have when we offering my perfume, people feel like so they're just same bottles. That's why we should talking about story behind, which is ingredients, okay, and the feelings.
Okay. Any other question?
How you feel about perfume in the future? Okay, so what is say with you? More players, more competitive means more opportunities. I'm running my brand for 12 years. I never scared of any change I never scared of any competitors. The more competitor means this business still breathing, still living. When there is no people doing that kind of business, you better leave, because no customers. So what I'm gonna say you, when you doing anything business in your life in the future, you will definitely have some competitors, a lot of challenging. I've been there. I
So-
had it.
Can you give list of examples of your competitors?
First, the new brands, the pricings, promotions, locations, trends. When we come across two competitors, means we have to know where we are standing. Guys, I'm running business for 12 years. I never have any discount, no promotions. No promotion. First, second, I don't have any online shop. I don't do on Shopee, Lazada. I'm purely selling in Chatuchak market. Only weekend from 10 to 6 p.m. That's it. 12 years. Only 2 days a week. 6 hours per day.
So what do you do between like Monday to Friday?
I'm traveling, enjoy my life. I'm
That's
enjoying
nice.
my life.
Okay, so he works 2 days a week.
And that to say you can Paul, if your products unwanted, nobody gonna buy it. If they want your product, they will find a way to get their hands on your products. When you're fighting means you have got to fight for it. I never fighting. I never do discount. Customer visit my store last weekend. They buy 10 bottles. They said, "Do you have promotion?" I said, "I would love to." And we are sorry if promotion is your concerns. We do concern promotion, but we do concern more on the ingredients. When we're talking about vanilla, we use local vanilla to showcasing Thai. Thai is my DNA, and we showcasing local ingredients for you to shopping my brands, not just the fragrance, but the local people, they can live their life. And they said, "Yes, I'm purchased 10 bottles, I'm fine." Remember, when your customer think about numbers, promotion, you have got to do storytelling, trouble ingredient, how precious, how difficult, how rare you're getting, how different. Do you have some small miniature for sale? We don't. We didn't say we don't. We said yes, and we just don't have it today. In future, we do consider. Thank you for visiting us. And every while I take a 50 ml. I love jasmine. Do you have another type of jasmine? I said, yes, we love jasmine and we treasure local jasmine. Our jasmine quite different, and that's why our jasmine fragrance quite unique. I never disagree with my clients. I never have any promotion. I don't have gift. I don't have GWP. I don't have promotion. No discount and no online stores. From one small shop to 14 stores in Thailand. I don't have any staff. You ask him, he knows. I don't have staff in my store. Amazing, right?
But how do you manage those 14 different locations?
Yes.
When you don't have staff?
Yes, we have this question many times when it comes to talking about business. Entrepreneurs. So you have to know your goal. My goal to push my perfume in my client hands. That's my goal. So staff is not part of my goal. I have 14 stores, no staffs, no. So we know that we're not going to have a staff. I put my brands in central. For example, central, paragons, icons, Gesons. So those one we call chair counters. So we have central staff to selling my brands, and we pay them commissions. We don't have to pay our salaries. We don't have to pay about the social welfare. Doing business, you have to know your money and you have to plan where you're going to spend. Operation cost can be very costly. Having staff, not a problem, but one day when you don't want any staff, that's going to be a huge problem. We learned from COVID. I was with LVMS during COVID. We have 1,000 staff and we have got to cut off more than 70%. Not a sweet dream. Okay, so to say you, I'm very have my goal. This is my brand. We don't gonna have a staff. We're expanding where we are more comfortable. We don't do online because we want customer to visiting and trying. Customer visit my store means 60% they will purchase, 40% they will test and they will buy. Online, they're just chatting. They don't testing, so we cannot convince. Storytelling is convincing. You know what I mean? So I'm very know where I put my feet today. So I'm running business. I keep this format. Another couple store will open and one store with no staff as well. Amazing, huh?
Okay. Because right now we talk about like online store,
Yes.
online platform, but Saisalang has no plan to do that.
When you cannot differentiate the trends, mean you just follow. I don't follow trend. I run my way. You know what I mean? So we know people going something online very convenient. I said myself, I'm inconvenient accessibility. Only we can market. Saturday, Sunday. Customer make their life to my store mean I bet they want to buy. So that's why they're here. People visiting store mean the chance to selling more than 60%. You browsing, you Googling, sometimes just Googling and then that's it. Okay, so when I was with LVMS, I do a test, traffic stoppers, 100% walk past by my stores. 10 people stop in. 10 people stop in, 5 people testing, the rest browsing. And 5 people, 2 people just spending. Mean 2% of people spending. So this is where we focus. We don't focus 98 people, we focus 2 people. So when they stop their buying, how to enlarge the basket? Through storytelling, convincing. And that's why when customer visit my store, at least they purchase a couple bottles. I have the maximum purchase for years, 25 bottles.
By one customer,
One customer.
25 bottles.
And then you can see when people stop at Louis Vuitton, sales assistant, they do talking, convincing, and they shop just like 10 bags at once. We have to know where we're going. And I'm going this way. We very classic selling process. Like we don't do online. We have a lot of customers nowadays, they drop message a lot, they want online, but we said we don't. And they're gonna keep this way.
Okay. Now we talk about your success, your pride. How about, do you think that during your 12 years of experience, what you considered as mistake, failure along the way?
One mistake I want to say everybody here, I should open my brand younger. I started when I was 36. If I may turn back time, I want to start business when I was 20. So I have another 29 years to test and fail, and test again and fail. Failure is not opposite of success. Failure is part of success. When you fail, you up, you fall, you up until you don't get tired. That means you're success. Success is not numbers. Success is how you feel happy. I feel happy doing my brands. I would say the most failure, I would say I would started when I was 20. I'm start too late. But yours, my 30 years ago today. And that's why we should meet today. So I would love to give you support, encourage any types of business that we have challenge. Even today we in the class we have challenge. So challenging is something that we have got to accept and admit it. It's every day, 24/7, every second, every 10 minutes. But you can choose to move forward or to stop. My first month at Jatuchak Market 12 years ago, I could manage to sold only one candle. And I asked myself, should I going or should I stop? Many times when I said I'm going to stop, but I said to myself, no, this is not my plans. I never plan to stop. Stopping, give up, never part of my dream, never be part of my plans. If I want to stop, what make me want to stop? Okay, no customers, then how to increasing customers? You see what I mean? So when you want to stop, you have to know what's stopping you and you work with that things. I want to stop. I cannot selling. Then cannot selling want you to stop your business. Then how to sell it? Should I done this? Should I trying that? What else that I haven't done? Remember every time in your life when you want to stop or what going to stop you, you have got to rise up and you have got to do little analysis. What's stopping you? What make your brands stop?
And in addition to the perfume, by the way, Saisalang also offered other different products.
Yes.
Like
Like I said earlier, we are lifestyle type brands. We have bags, we have scrubs, we're going to have some clothes, and then we're going to have some cafe. Like share with you, doing business when your brand can selling mean your logo, then you can sell anything under the logo.
maybe you want to share
The bag?
to show
Sure.
the bag to them.
Definitely. Oops. So the bag,
This is the bag.
I'm carry everywhere, okay? And we're selling at Quezon Amalin. I share with you our local Thai brands. We have a lot of Westerns they're interested. End of the month, I invited to China, okay, for a fragrance event. Last week, I was in India with TTT, Thailand Tourist Authorities, because of Lisa. And then we will go to China and many countries later. Okay?
Okay, so before the break, do we have any question?
Yes.
Please.
So Kun Saisalang, your I'm sorry. So your perfume, what is the ingredient that you make your fragrance? Is jasmine or another flower?
Yes, that's a good question. Guys, when we're talking about fragrance, regardless of brands, price, logo, only two ingredients. Natural ingredients and synthetic. So when we're talking about perfumes, only two ingredients, no matter brands or bottle you like in your life. When we look at the perfumes, only two, natural ingredients and synthetic. For example, when I said about rose, sad things in fragrance, when they said rose, most of them don't use roses. I was with LVMS. This is the rose essential oil. The price, what they used, geranium, citronella, which is the lemongrass, geranium and citronella. They're 20 times more, no, they're 100 times cheaper than roses. Not only on the pricing, Kun Paul, but rose very allergen ingredients. I brought Christian to your team to doing fragrance. And the girl, she allergic with roses. She opened the cap and she do like this. Less than 10 seconds, red, couldn't breathe, go hospitals. When you are allergic with natural ingredients, they're very fast. They're very fast. So nowadays, sorry to say, Chanel, Dior, any brands in the world, when they talk about roses, they use something else that giving you rose. Okay? For example, when you do ice cream, you use vanilla. Nope, you use the vanilla compound, which is the synthetic. First, cheaper, and then they're very steady. Sometimes, like roses, you cannot control. They could be good, bad, intense, light. Depends on how the agriculture throughout the years. So rose, nature cannot be controlled. So that's why they're inviting synthetic rose molecule. More intense, more steady, and more safe. I work with LVMH when we importing perfume to China, to Thailand, to Japan. We're talking about FDA license. When you show the formulation, they have natural ingredients, they will be banned. Remember, when perfume enter kingdom, they go all everywhere, cannot control. So that's why FDA, they're the first spot to stop. And that's why they're replacing, you can notice Chanel, Dior, every 4 to 5 years, they will reformulation, they replace nature with synthetic. Sad news, but very safety. Okay, so to say with you nowadays, when we're talking about fragrance, and that's why Saisalang, we use local ingredients to have our unique. So when you smell, oh, this is jasmine, but this is not like jasmine I've been smelled. So that's the local jasmine. Okay.
All right, guys. Well, maybe we should take a break here, and the class shall resume maybe in 15 minutes with maybe Q&A after this.
More than happy. Guys, trust me, yeah. If you have any questions, I'm even more happy to answer and helping. Okay.
All right.
If you want to do some perfume business, you have Kun Paul, you have me. I help many brands around Kun Paul knows to start this. Okay. Doing perfume not difficult, but selling fragrance more than art. All right. See you later.
All right. Thank you.